The Rugby Report is sponsored by Betfred. More! That's what we like. This tournament has not disappointed so far, and with 5 more games coming up this week, we can't get enough of it. Just when the Canadians thought they'd had enough, the Springboks are next up. It's a must-win for Argentina against the USA, and Scotland should have few problems against Russia. Pool D could be in for a shake-up as Wales take on the unpredictable Fijians, but Australia should have a much smoother game against Georgia. Remember to check Betfred online and on the app for special offers, double delight and more. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 and over, begambleaware.org. Full T's and C's apply. See betfred.com for more information. When the fun stops, stop. The Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred. Hello and welcome. It's the Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred. Episode 9. How did we get here? My name is Nick Heath and, I've not been to an Onsen in days.
I'm Tom May and I am back in Kobe. My second home.
Where Tom May now lives.
I've been here 3 times to this hotel and I've had the same room 3 times. I'm basically hiding stuff in this room and it's still there.
Mind you, isn't that we're sort of learning that is obviously the Japanese thing? Like, as you posted a picture of a Japanese businessman who was asleep on Friday night, Saturday morning. He had his laptop case and his phone had fallen out of his pocket. But the thing is that's all going to be there when he wakes up, from what we hear. Yeah,
just pass out on the street. His phone was. He had his headphones in. He was lying on the tiled floor in the middle of a station, and his phone was like dragging out behind him, and then his sort of briefcase was maybe 1.5 feet behind him. And it's just,
oh wow!
It's like people just walking past him, like looking at him. I mean,
it's sort of like he also just dropped down. Like that's not a sort of delicate. I'm going to just sit here and put all my stuff and have a sleep. That's like, and I'm down.
Also, it's just like, oh my god, I'm tired. Sleep on some manky hanging floor.
Yeah.
Ugh,
excellent.
Horrible.
That is what they do. That is how they do it here. It is very much work hard.
Hence,
it is very much play hard.
Hence the pod hotels, I think. Apparently that's where they came about.
Yeah, because they were like, seriously, pal, you need a bed, not just the floor of a station.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks to all of you who have been tuning in and enjoying the Rugby Report and getting in touch with us. Great to be hearing from you, whether you are in Tokyo or across Japan enjoying things, or whether you're watching from Blighty back home or across the world. It is the Rugby World Cup, of course, and me and Tom May delighted to bring you as much colour from it as we possibly can. We're going to look back at 5 games, we're going to look forward to 5 games, and we're going to hear from a Rugby World Cup winner and an established old Argentinian sevens man who likes his coffee. So Tom May, let's get cracking, if I may. We'll look back then and start with a game that was on Saturday. Australia against Uruguay, 7 tries, 45 points to 10. Spirited Uruguay getting their consolation try, but the Wallabies doing it despite 2 yellow cards.
Yeah, I mean, they made a bit of hard work about it, didn't they? Best part about that game, I think, 94 games for James Slipper, 94 caps, and he got his first try. I mean, that's some drought, that, isn't it?
That is a drought,
isn't it? If ever there's like at what point have you played 94 caps and not been that close to scoring? I mean, he must have given like passes to someone else every time. Jordan Petaia was outstanding. I gave him a bit of a rap before the tournament started. He's only 19, been injured for a long time, came in and played brilliantly. Kurajani got a couple. They were always going to win that one, though, weren't they?
Yeah, well, so Australia now have 2 wins and 11 points. They got a losing bonus, of course, as well. So they're on 11. Wales, who have got a game in hand, they are on 9 points. Fiji 7, Georgia 5, Uruguay 4. That's how things are looking in that pool. England-Argentina is the next one. A chance to discuss how things went at the Tokyo Stadium. Looked like a great affair. A red card, and Lavanini has ruined the contest for everybody. It's not, I should say, to anybody who's making this point on social media, that the laws have ruined the game for everybody. I'm getting a bit tired of this. Are you?
Well, he twatted Owen Farrell in the face.
Yeah.
Like, properly hard.
Yeah.
What you could tell by his face when Nigel Owens was walking up to him, he was just thinking, oh, God.
Yeah.
You know, he knew exactly what was coming. What other choice did the referee have to make? I mean, yeah, it's not the laws that have made the mistake. It's him, and he's got previous, isn't he? So I think it killed the game, and it was a competitive game before that, and it sort of lost a bit of the crackle that we expected.
I mean, do you think a red card like that would have a major bearing on a result that ultimately is 39 points to 10?
Well, no, because I went for 32-10 when I was chatting to someone the other day, and that was assuming that there was only there was going to be 15 people on the field. I don't think Argentina are anywhere near where they should be. And I think some of the performances from some of the England players were of a standard where we would expect them to put Argentina away comfortably. I thought George Ford was outstanding. I'm literally scratch my head sometimes with some people. What they're saying, people keep going, oh yeah, but he's only playing against sort of relative minnows. This guy is in serious form, I think.
Yeah. People
basically just want to batter him because they don't feel that he should be playing 10 because maybe they think, well, we should have Slade at 13, Manu at 12 and Farrell at 10. Well, Owen Farrell wasn't great at the weekend, was he?
With the likes of, with fans of Farrell's or with fans of Slade or indeed fans of Cipriani, who I think have always had it in for George Ford, there does seem to be an awful lot of, as you say, just people who are not seeing how well he's playing. I mean, he gets a try, and as does Johnny May, Elliot Daly, Ben Youngs, Luke Cowan-Dickey.
Well, he was another one, I think. Elliot Daly. Yeah. He wasn't initially...
Who actually looked so good under the high ball. I think it was one of his best performances.
Yeah, and all right, he might have had a little bumble as he was trying to catch that ball, but that was what helped him get over for the try, I think, because the Argentinian flew out thinking he was going to try and... Or he was fumbling it. But I thought his kicking game was good. I thought he looked far more assured. And that, I'm someone that was saying early on in the tournament that Watson should have been playing fullbacks, and now... he had a great performance. How good was it to see Jack Noel come on, run straight at someone, sit him down, and just run off and score in the corner?
Yeah, absolutely hilarious. So welcome back, Jack. You've been hanging around with Santiago Gomez Cora, the man who plays Argentina Sevens, played for a good number of years. Introduce this little chap for us, will you? Yeah,
so Santi and I, we've been hunting coffee, because sometimes it's a bit of a waste of a coffee. Probably everyone knows what I mean by waste of coffee. You don't want to have just like dirty water in your cup, do you? You want to have a proper coffee. Yeah, but even that's been pretty good for some of the places I've had coffee over here in Japan. Anyway, we dug this one. There's a coffee museum on Port Island in Kobe, and it's taken us 3 weeks to find it. But oh wow, what a find!
I've seen the pictures on your social media. I'll try and post one of them on the Rugby Report _Twitter. It looks like a laboratory for coffee.
It's amazing. Like 3 or 4 different ways of I was going to say making coffee, and what's brilliant about Santi is that when I started drinking coffee, he just had I could imagine him with a kettle, some gold blend or whatever, and mixing it all up. He said he's gone right the way through the repertoire. He's got 4 machines now, all do various different things. And
what a snob!
Yeah. Basically, but he was loving this place basically.
Yeah, all right, well, let's have a listen.
Santi, we've got some amazing background music here for us. It's almost quite romantic. I'll try and keep it to the rugby. How do you feel about yesterday's game up in Tokyo between England and Argentina?
Yesterday we had 2 different matches. The first match is with 15 players after the red card. That was okay. And England deserved to win 100%, but there were 2 matches before the red card, and then after the red card, Argentina couldn't make his own game.
And where can Argentina improve over the next week? They've got a tough week now, right, ahead of playing the United States. When do they play? Towards the end of next week, I think, isn't it? Tough week for them.
Tough week. That is part of this game. Sometimes you feel amazing. You have the best week. You can enjoy your victory, and everyone wants to be in your place, but nobody wants to be in the shoes of the coach, of the players right now. But it's part of the game. You sometimes win, sometimes lose, and it's part of this. And you have to learn of this kind of situation, like don't make a lot of change before a World Cup, or be careful with the red card warning that World Cup gave before this championship. So there are a lot of things to learn to don't happen this kind of things again.
And what positives will Argentina, what will Ledesma and Juan Fernandez Lopez be taking out of the game yesterday?
I don't know. You have to be in that place to know what they thought before to play against England. My point of view is many changes before the most important match that Argentina have had in the last 4 years.
And we've just found the most amazing coffee spot for us. We've been looking for coffee for, what, two and a half weeks now?
After 3 weeks, we find the best place, the first and best place to drink some coffee here. We have a coffee museum, and was amazing experience because we share with some friends the coffee and because we taste one of the best coffee or the best coffee here in Japan.
And you need to get some of this coffee to go home. It's quite interesting to find out you've got a whole raft of different coffee machines back in Argentina.
It's a pain of the moment that you need to drink something different, but with 5 or 6 machines to make coffee, you feel comfortable with that.
One of the best finds you found in Japan. What have been your best? What are your top 3 moments in Japan so far?
This coffee is one. Maybe the games of yesterday with Japan and Samoa, because it was our first match with both teams had the opportunity to win, because the other matches were a big difference in the score, but this one was the host and was the crowd was full, and the last moment of the match was amazing. Maybe another moment was when Japan beat Ireland too. Yeah. So we watched it by TV, but was a very special moment because you feel in the street and everywhere dressing the jersey of Japan. It's a not big fan country of rugby, but now yes, after that 2 or 3 result of Japan, everyone is supporting the team.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
So yes, you went for his 3 favourite moments of the Rugby World Cup, and number 1 was coffee. So we really should have seen that one coming. We set it up for that at the very least. So good to hear from him and to hear from someone that you've been hanging around with a fair bit. Just before we go through a few more of the games, I wanted to just touch on the fact that I put out on Twitter as to what people are enjoying the most. What have been their highlights of Rugby World Cup so far? And we'll drop another couple of these in a minute. But let's start with Rugby Stig, who got back to us. He gave us 5. Number 1, the Japan-Ireland match. Couldn't agree more. Fantastic upset, and the hosts doing what the hosts should do on a big occasion like this. His second was Uruguay against Fiji, so he's enjoying the upset. His third was the Painted Man, Baksan. Who has just been everywhere.
They've got a song going for it now, haven't they? Backstreet Boys.
Oh, Baksan's back, all right.
Back, all right.
You should rush to the karaoke with that one. And number 4 is The Gong. People have been enjoying The Gong. Oh. And his point number 5 is England are still in it. Mark O'Shea said the host nation has basically been the highlight. Jerry Williams, on a similar theme, says every Japan game. And Pete Breakwell says watching Johnny May, learning more about Japan, and seeing lots of people posting videos on the Shinkansen. We'll have a few more of those before we finish. So thank you to all of you who got in touch. Now then, Japan against Samoa. You were at this one at the Toyota Stadium. Jaco Piper in charge of it. 38 points to 19 it finished. And it looked like an absolute riot. It
was amazing. Just from having a walk around in the area outside of the stadium beforehand with Conor McNamara, who I'm working with in commentary, there were so many people in Japanese shirts, all having a great time, all buzzing to get into the stadium. When they got in there, I mean, if they could afford to shut the roof, it would have come off anyway, because it was so loud. It was amazing. And then when Japan started doing and playing how we know Japan can, it was brilliant, and the whole place just was absolutely rocking. What Samoa are doing towards the end of the game, I just do not know. They obviously they've got nothing to lose and wanted to try and get up the other end of the field and score a try. But I mean, to turn the ball over from a wonky feed and then just basically shove back twice and then score in the corner, that was they were desperate for that bonus point. Japan, it's going to be so important in that pool. It's going to be calculators at the ready next week, I think. So, really key extra point for them, and the place was was so loud. It was amazing to be there.
I'm trying to sort of look at these details. You know, if Scotland and Ireland both pick up bonus point wins before that Yokohama showdown, then what do Japan need to do to qualify? Well, if they win or draw, they qualify. If Scotland take 4 points more than Japan from the game, then the hosts will be out. It doesn't bear thinking about after how it's been for them. There are 4 points for winning, bonus point for scoring 4 tries, as we know, and a losing bonus if the margin of defeat is 7 or less. If in defeat, Japan I'm reading this here from the Rugby World Cup website, Japan took both the 4-try bonus point and the losing bonus point, they would top the pool. They'd finish ahead of Ireland, both team on 16 points. So, there is, a fair bit of maths required in that pool, but atmosphere-wise...
Not if Japan just do what they need to do. Everything's in their hands.
Well, exactly. And just thinking about being a sort of Tier 2 nation and being awarded a Rugby World Cup, you have the 2015 that you've had beating South Africa, creating all those headlines, but you probably still think that you're just this little plucky romantic side. Like, to have actually, played like they have done, albeit I think a little bit frantic against Samoa before it sort of settled down a bit more. They're really showing themselves to be a fantastic team playing brilliant rugby, and their nation's got every reason to get excited, because it's not like the plucky underdog is pulling off a result or two. They're proving themselves to be great contenders. It'll only be a shame when they potentially meet the might of somebody that might sweep them aside a little too easily.
Well, yeah, and I think with our further interview that we've got with Joel Stransky, he is convinced that Japan will not pull that off a second time round should they get through to the quarterfinals. He's adamant about that. So I'm pretty keen that we've got that on tape, just in case it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, let's come to that shortly then. So Japan running out the winners against Samoa. New Zealand against Namibia, it was the procession we thought it would be, 71 points to 9. But, of course, we all want to look back to that moment after about 29 minutes when it was 10-9. Which was just a beautiful moment in the game. But 11 tries for the All Blacks in the end. 2 yellow cards for high tackles. Job done in the end. But, Namibia would have been taking pictures of that scoreline after that amount of time. Yeah,
I mean, I think Phil Davis is really happy, isn't he, with the way that his players have stood up and fought during this tournament, especially during the games against South Africa and against New Zealand, where really, they're going up against the 2 top teams in the world, really. They've stood up and given a good account of themselves. I thought Geordie Barrett played brilliantly at 10. He's quality player, isn't he? Sevu Reece has proved what a great finisher is. And talking of great finishes, what about that from TJ Perinara in the corner? That was incredible.
Sensational, ridiculous. And also, just as ridiculous, Captain Sam Whitelock, 100 test wins in 115 matches.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
I mean, yeah, Get out of here. I heard in the interview afterwards. Oh, did you know you've won 100 out of the last however many caps it was? Whatever it. And he went, "Oh no, I didn't know that." Bollocks. He knew that full well.
Yeah. Cheers for that. Right, France against Tonga then. That was the game that took place on Sunday. 7th against 16th. And for a few moments, it looked like Tonga might turn it around. Finished 23-21 to France. There was a moment in the last quarter where Antoine Dupont came on. He was wearing all of his clothes quite disappointingly. But he managed to produce a little pass to send the French away for another little score with Vakatawa in at the... Oh, no, was it? No, that wasn't the Vakatawa score, was it? It was ruled out in the end, but he was he was causing all sorts of problems. And then at the other end, he makes a try-saving tackle. He was absolutely all over the place to make sure that France hung in there, because Tonga very, very nearly turned this one over. Yeah,
I said to a few people, I thought the Tongans might have had a good crack at this, and they did, didn't they? Alavereti Raka, quite honestly, is unplayable at times.
He's starting to show what he can do.
Yeah, which is slightly alarming. But probably if the World Cup was about teams with fairly lame mental capacity to hold into games and stay strong, France would win it outright.
I don't want to watch that World Cup. Or do I? Maybe I do.
It could be quite amusing, I think.
Yeah, who
else? Are they winning
50-0?
Oh, God, they've lost.
Scotland and France would be in the final on that, wouldn't they?
Well, England would be in it from that Six Nations game.
Oh,
We could have some amazing games, the comeback games.
The most mentally fragile teams going head to head.
Yeah.
What a thriller that would be. We look back at those games. It means at the minute, at the end of the weekend, we have two teams that have qualified, of course, for the quarter-finals. England and France from Pool C have got it sorted. And then when we look at Pool D, we mentioned it earlier, Australia on 11, Wales on 9 points. In Pool B, it's New Zealand 14, South Africa 10. Those two cruising through, you would expect. And, as we touched on briefly as well, Japan 14 points after 3 games. Ireland 11 points. And Scotland with only 2 games played and 5 points. So there is plenty to look forward to, and we now will look forward to the next 5 games. Sorry, I'll just bring you back to a couple of the other bits of feedback we've had on people's favourite moments of the Rugby World Cup so far. Ian Morgan, he simply said Thomas Williams. I think you're in agreement with that, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think he's been doing pretty well.
I think he'd be pretty disappointed he didn't get a shot, but I think he makes such an impact from the bench that causes his own problems, really, because he's that good when he comes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Allman says Japan putting on a show of all shows. Well, they're certainly doing that. Jason Gardner, not the former athlete, just says Tonga, France. So that was obviously the most recent one. Derek Rees, another one to say gongs, which I thought was quite good. People have been loving those. John Harris Bass, who's been doing some of the radio commentary. What's that again?
That they're loving the gongs that much?
Yeah. To be fair, when you're actually there, they're frighteningly loud, but they come across on TV all right. So John Harris Bass says Cheslin Colby, Uruguay, Japan, Ahuri Park, the Barretts, Sushi Hamari, Fukuoka, Mount Fuji, Yakitori.
Fukuoka's in someone's top. I'm looking forward to that.
And all things Suntory. You need to get down to Canal City in Fukuoka, I can tell you that much. Canal City. It's a nice bit of fun, street food. They'll charge you a fortune for it, but it's where the atmosphere is in Fukuoka. Can't believe that's our first Geordie mention since episode 8. So just checking to see what else we had. Yes, Steve Banimal on Twitter highlights Japan, Ireland, Uruguay, Fiji, Cheslin Kolbe, Matsushima, Bowden Barrett spilling the ball in front of the sticks, England making the quarters, Baksan, sellout stadiums, his lowlights, the gong, the knock-ons, the Twitter debate after every incident. Well, that's what Twitter's for, right? And thanks to my mate Manjit, who's replied through Doc MP, getting your best mate and husband drunk in Japan and making them eat food out of their comfort zone, which did actually happen.
So let's look. Something else out.
I'm not going to go where you're going. Let's look at then the 5 games coming up. Tuesday, 11:15 UK time, 7:15 evening our time in Kobe. It's South Africa against Canada. You had a chat to Joel Stransky, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I managed to catch him when he wasn't out on his bike. My God, that guy's a fitness freak.
The beginning of this sounds a little bit like you're a stalker. So let's hear how Tom May caught up with the 1995 South African Rugby World Cup winner.
So I've come and found Joel Stransky in his room. The first thing to say is there is a massive mountain bike in here. What the hell are you doing with a mountain bike here in Japan?
Well, it's a problem. There's a bike bag and a bike. There's no room. There's no room left for anything else. Jeez. No, so I love the bike, and I figured if I'm going to stay sane here in Japan, being here for almost 7 weeks, I'm going to bring one with. So I brought my hardtail mountain bike with. It's more of my training bike. It's great for on the road, and it's really good for some off road stuff. But most importantly, here, I'm not really going to do much off road stuff because if you fall, and you're on your own, there's no one to come save you.
You're not ringing in, are you?
No. But at least on the hardtail, I can hop the pavement and I can, shoot through the red lights and I can do all those things we're not supposed to do.
And it gives you a bit of time away, I guess, from the rugby. Back to it, the Springboks, they go up against Canada on Tuesday. Do you think this is quite a frustrating group for both South Africa and New Zealand, given that the 3 other teams aren't really at the races?
So I'm not sure I'd use the word frustrating. I think it gives them opportunity to look at different combinations, to give some exposure to other players, to see where some players returning from injury are at. Brody Retallick was back out there today. I think if there are players who are coming back from injury, it's the ideal return field. If that makes any sense. But I think what it does do is it does disadvantage them slightly. If you think of England, France, Argentina in one group, and then they've still got, Tonga and the USA, it's quite competitive. Every game is they're certainly going to win, most of those games, but they're competitive. It just means they get to that knockout stage maybe a little bit more equipped.
Now, France and England have both qualified for the quarterfinals this weekend. Who do you think is looking pretty good for all of those quarterfinal spots, and who's going to progress towards the semis and the finals?
I think the reality is if you want to win the World Cup, you've got to beat the best teams in the world, so it doesn't matter which way you go. But for me right now, I've been hugely impressed with Japan. Yeah. In that group, which was also a tough group with Ireland and Scotland. Samoa, who I thought played out of their skins last night, and at one point I thought they were going to beat Japan, and then Japan just lifted their game and found another level and continued this fairy tale journey. So I actually think Japan might top that group now. Before last night, I thought they were going to lose to Scotland and maybe come second. I think they might beat Scotland, and that journey might continue. So they will then, unfortunately, if you win that group, you've got to play the Springboks. I mean, how tough is that?
2015. Back all over again.
Yeah,
You're convinced it's not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen again. I'm 100% convinced. I mean, I didn't think they would beat us last time out, but I think the Springbok team is just better equipped. They have a better spirit. They're a happier squad, and they are just physical. Yeah. Brutes. They just smash you into the ground.
That's probably something Japan haven't faced yet, isn't it?
They haven't, and I thought Samoa gave them a little bit of that last night, and then they did well to start shifting the ball away, a couple of channels wider and play away from the physical side. But the Springboks won't let them shift the ball, and it'll be tough for them. But first they have to beat Scotland. And then, New Zealand, I think, they're just marching forward, aren't they? Yeah. They were brilliant in that opening game against South Africa. They managed to absorb the pressure that the Springboks put on them and find a way to get through, which is the sign of a great side. England, I think, have shown some good signs, maybe not at their best yesterday. And maybe the score flattered them a bit. And if there hadn't been a red card, it may have been a whole lot less. But England, I think, have the big game temperament to go all the way as well. They know how to play the big moments, which is most important.
And we've seen Fiji. You and I watched Fiji go against Georgia, and they were sensational at times. Yeah. Do you think they can trouble Wales?
I think Wales have an inherent self-belief, which is their magic at the moment. I think to win the World Cup, there's certain things you got to do. You have a good pack of forwards. You got to defend well. You got to kick your goals. You need an experienced coach to make some good decisions, experienced leadership. But most importantly, you need a bit of magic. I think for Wales, the magic is that self-belief. And if I look at that team on paper, it's a good team. It's not a great team. If you picked a World 15, there'd be maybe one, maybe two players in that World 15. It wouldn't be laced with Welsh players. But they have this self-belief and this ability, again, to play the big moments in an inspired way. And in that game against Australia, which was really the pool decider, I thought they did really well to hang on. They smartly kicked a couple of drop goals. They took every opportunity. They got ahead and they just hung on for dear life. But again, if you can only just barely hang on against Australia, you're not going to beat the All Blacks and you're not going to beat South Africa.
So my favourite bit of that whole chat is, he's certainly not giving an awful lot of love to the Welsh, is he? He says they're a good team, they're not a great team, and they wouldn't get many players in a World 15. So he's not planning on holidaying in Newport anytime soon.
No, look, I know what he means, and I think he's probably right. Their collective is far better than their individual, and I think that's the most important thing about this World Cup and the teams that are going to do well. You can't have an amazing group of individuals that just don't work together, don't bond together. It just doesn't work like that. And I think that's coming from someone in Joel Stransky that knows exactly how to win a World Cup.
I was thinking about someone like Alan Wynne-Jones, and I thought, okay, he's a massive leader, and we know what a popular figure he is. All the caps he's got, British and Irish Lion. But then I then just sort of was tempting myself to say, all right, well, you put him alongside his British and Irish Lions second row, Maro Itoje, who may not have the miles on the clock that AWJ has, but you compare him to then Broder Retallick as well, or Lou de Jager, Courtney Laws. I mean, there are a lot of people up there that if you were putting a World 15 together, you might have him for his leadership, but actually would you have him for the impact he can make as a second row?
Well, this is half the argument with a lot of people that are sort of bagging George Ford. Oh, well, he wouldn't even get in the Lions team. Well, he doesn't have to because he's just got to get in the England team. You know,
true.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, it's a completely different scenario. There are other players that are just as good or better than, players that we have in our home nations that we want to see do well. And I think there's probably Alan Wynne-Jones is probably one of the guys that I think he would say he probably would get into his world 15, if you like. Jonathan Davis maybe, but I think you'd only find probably 3 from each team anyway. I know what he means.
Yeah, I do. Well, it was good to hear from him, and good job on catching up with the man. South Africa, Canada, then in Kobe, that will be pretty easy work for South Africa. Will we read anything as to whether the Springboks put more points on Canada than the All Blacks? Probably not.
No, not at all.
All right.
Well, the All Blacks stopped playing at 60 minutes, didn't they? Basically.
Well, they did, yeah. We'll move on then. 3 games on Wednesday. I mean, that sort of comes out of nowhere. We're sort of used to our big weekends, and then suddenly as we lead into the final week of group matches, they pop up with 3 games on Wednesday.
There's a belter, though.
They are, yeah. Well, at 5:45 in the morning and a 1:45 kickoff on Wednesday. It is Argentina against the USA, Kumagaya Rugby Stadium. That one is going to be, an absolute treat, I would hope. The USA are basically looking at this as an opportunity to get qualification as the 3rd team in the pool, because that would make them one of the 12 teams that goes towards France 2023 without having to go through further qualification. So they would be one of the seeded teams. So while everybody's been assuming they're just targeting that Tonga game as the only team that they are above in terms of world rankings, well, actually, they're fancying their chances at knocking off the Pumas.
Well, and it's a good opportunity, isn't it? Argentina coming off a mauling from England.
Short few days turnaround as well.
Yeah. They'll be pretty disappointed they've missed out on qualification. Where are they mentally? There's your opportunity for the States.
Cool. And it's pretty tasty. So I'm really looking forward to that one in Kumagaya, the rugby town as they call it. Then following that one in Shizuoka, it is Scotland against Russia, 8:15 UK time. 4:15 local time. That should be pretty easy for Scotland. If it isn't, then they've got some serious problems.
Well, Scotland will win that, but I think we'll also see Russia put in another really spirited performance, and we get to see another incredible interview from Vasily Artemiev, where he's clapping his hands.
That's what we've got to look forward to. I mean, what is the worry for Scotland, not saying they're not going to win, because I would expect they would, but is that, like we said in the last pod, Russia have just been looking for opponents to play against, and the more they play, the more they're improving and getting better. So Scotland will need to be on their mettle for this.
They will, but they'll win that. There's no question about that. I think it's the manner that they win that game in that makes a difference, because they're then coming into that fixture against the Japanese on a back of a short turnaround for them. Now, let's not forget that in 2015, Japan went in to the Scottish game at Gloucester after playing Brighton on the back of a 4-day turnaround. Well, they get their revenge this time round.
Well, will they? We wait and see. Then following that, 10:45, Oita Stadium in Pool D, UK kickoff. It's a 6:45 local game. Wales against Fiji. So much chat ahead of the tournament about the surprises that Fiji could spring. They haven't quite come to the party with as many surprises as we might want.
Well, they sprung a surprise in that they lost to Uruguay.
yeah, it was an anti-surprise. I'm unfortunately I'm slightly less excited about this game than I want to be. But then, after many years of looking at November international schedules in Cardiff and suddenly seeing Wales lose to a Tier 2 nation, you just never know.
No, you never know. But having seen the Fijians against the Georgians as well during the week, they were incredible to watch. Randrandra was unbelievable, and if you ever think that maybe there's a chance this is it, when sort of Wales come in thinking we should be all right here, but actually under the radar Fiji have sort of pissed about a bit, and now they just get their stuff in order and then come in with an absolute belter of a performance.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly going to watch it, that's for sure.
Good.
Then rounding off our previews for this pod, we're going to let you have a whole week to enjoy these games. It is Australia against Georgia on Friday, 11:15 in the morning UK time, 7:15 local time, that one in Shizuoka. Again, it shouldn't cause any problems for the Australians, but one thing Australia don't really like is a massively physical scrap, and the Georgians are certainly going to give them that with Graham Rowntree looking after them.
Yeah, all the adsies and idsies will have a right old crack against the Australians. But yeah, I think you're right that Wales and Australia have just got to manage these last two fixtures just to make sure they come out of them in some pretty good shape ahead of the quarterfinals, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then we will be at quarter-final time. We will be bringing out a pod towards the end of the week then, once we've started to see these games take shape, and we probably know a few more of the qualifiers. Of course, that following weekend is pretty tasty itself, with New Zealand, Italy, England, France, Ireland, Samoa, Namibia, Canada, which I actually think could be quite entertaining, and then the USA against Tonga, Wales against Uruguay, Japan against Scotland. My goodness, I think I'd almost forgotten how massive that end weekend is. I think we sort of half thought it could be from the outset, but now we've seen what's happened. There is so much to look forward to, so we'll be bringing you that towards the end of the week, and hopefully with a couple of decent guests, if we can wring a few in. Any other business, Tom? You visited your first Onsen.
I went to my first Onsen and I slept in my first pod.
Oh yeah, you did?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was all right, but I had the one that was sort of on second floor, if you get what I mean. Which meant I had to climb a ladder. It was so awkward to get in it.
Your little legs, bless
you. Stiff back central. But when you walk past the Japanese people in the pods, mate, they have got their shit in order in there. Like, everything is in like the right order, the right space, and it just works for them. Whereas mine looked like literally my bomb had gone off inside it, and I was just, it's too small. But I was lying there in the middle of the night, and obviously people can go, all right, I'm not going to go home because I'm too drunk. I just need to find somewhere to get my head down. They go and pay, it was about 40 quid, I think, for the night. And I'm sure someone vommed in their pod.
Oh, no, that's got to be pretty hideous.
Oh, it'd be horrific, especially if you were on the level that I was on, because someone's getting dripped on down below.
Really?
There's only a little.
It's actually.
Oh, it's open. So the end of the pod is open. So So you got your bed, and then there's a little sort of. Yeah. There's like a cloth bit at the end. It's like a little curtain that you just pull down. There's nothing to stop someone pulling the curtain up though. And there's nothing to stop the bloke's vomit dripping on the bloke below. So
someone just leans out the end of theirs and voms down the side.
Oh, it was horrendous. And then people start. I'm up now, so I better go home. 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like, keep the noise down, mate. Not all of us are going.
Oh wow!
But it was a good experience. And then I had a, did you have to sit on the child's plastic seat before you got in the onsen?
That's what you do, mate. You've got to sit there.
Yeah, it's just a bit weird. It's just a bit weird.
Then you go into the pools, and then you're meant to come back and then use your little towel to kind of have a good rub down and a scrub again, exfoliate, and then you go in again.
Yeah, I mean, I did everything in the right order. It was pretty awkward getting that low. There's no need to use a seat that is so small, though. My daughter's got a seat that's bigger than that, and I don't need to be sat on the end of it, cleaning my meat and veg and my feet and everything like that, and then going into a hot pool, and then coming back out and feeling really relaxed and going making my back really stiff on a child's seat again. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? But I did like the hot pool. I mean, it was ridiculously hot.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's great. One thing I think is going to be revolutionary when it arrives here, I don't know if I've said this before, but when Japanese men understand manscaping, it's going to change the world.
I mean, it takes pubes to a whole different level, doesn't it?
It's incredible, isn't it?
I mean, I know we lost a fair bit of the Amazon rainforest during the summer, but my God, those boys could make up some...
Oh, yeah. For a relatively hairless nation as well, and the rest of the
body. Like lacking in hair on their legs, but my God, they make up for it.
So there we are. Sensitive cultural issues covered right here on the Rugby Report Japan 2019 with Betfred. That'll do us then, Tom. Enjoy the next few days. Got anything exciting planned?
I've got a day off tomorrow, which will be quite nice. And then I'm getting prepped for South Africa, Canada on Wednesday before I head down. No, sorry, on Tuesday night before I head down to Fukuoka on Wednesday.
Fukuoka.
So
we'll have a Fukuoking great time. And thank you very much once again. Keep your reviews coming. Keep in touch with us on @therugby_report_ on Twitter. And tell your friends if you enjoy listening. Tell no one if you think it's rubbish. All the best from the two of us, and we'll catch up with you at the end of the week.
The Rugby Report Japan 2019 is sponsored by Betfred. There's a plethora of offers on all of the action in Japan from Betfred. Boosted odds on players to score any time, top tournament try scorers, handicap bets, pick your punt specials, and boosts around the biggest games. There's plenty of twists and turns left before this tournament is over, and you can experience it all with Betfred. 18s and over, begambleaware.org, full T's and C's apply. See betfred.com for more information. When the fun stops, stop.
This has been a Rugby Media production.